The long-awaited Alaska review is finally here, ladies and gentlemen, fellow players of World of Warships. We're gonna be starting this review with just checking a bit about the ship itself on Wikipedia. And on the contrary, which I thought this ship was only a paper ship, to my poor potato knowledge, she actually was a real ship. She was the real deal, and also had a sister ship in the name of Guam. 6 of them were planned to be built, but only 2 were built. You can see a bit about the history of the ship. She actually served in World War II, participated in operations of Iwo Jima and Okinawa, including providing anti-aircraft defense for various carrier task forces and conducting limited shore bombardment operations. Shot down a couple of planes, aircrafts of Okinawa, including a possible Oka piloted missile. Really hilarious design, I would say, but yeah. The World War II suicide bombers, you could call them. Oh god, I'm gonna get in trouble talking like that. Yeah, and finally she was decommissioned in 1947. I'm not going to be talking or just reading of this text too much, since you can just go into Wikipedia and check it out for yourself, but it's quite cool. She had a history, which, yeah, to my potato knowledge, I didn't know, because I am not the most competent guy when it comes to ships. I have to be honest about that. I started playing the game because I never thought... I never tried a game with any ships before, so that was one of my interests in getting into World of Warships, because I played World of Tanks before that, and I kind of liked wargaming games, so... yeah. Before showing you the main game and highlights of this review, I'm going to showcase two scenarios from another game that quite took me by surprise with the gun performance. Here I score a very odd citadel on the Grosse, so I don't know if if I should thank the guns of the Alaska or if I should thank the weird armor of the German BBs. But yeah, either way, that was a nice pen right there. Here I have AP loaded, and now comes one of the most controversial volleys. Yes, the Des Moines is kinda showing a bit broadside, but I don't think he was showing that much broadside, but needless to say, it was enough to actually pen him. Getting, I think, was it 2 or 3 nice citadels there? Almost, yeah, completely wrecking him. Now, on to the game itself. One of the most fun games I had in the Alaska so far. Now on the screen, you're gonna see some stats of the Alaska comparing to the Kronstadt. So we're gonna go over with the guns, survivability, and a bit of the concealment, and the rudder shift maneuverability aspects of the ships. So Alaska guns, 20-second reloads, compared to 18.5 of the Kronstadt. I guess the Kronstadt got 1.5 second better offset because it has less fire chance of 25% compared to 28% of the Alaska, so that might offset it. In my opinion, yeah, I wish the Alaska had maybe like 19 seconds instead, but it's not a deal breaker per se, especially if you're running Adrenaline Rush. You're not gonna be really caring that much about it. When we come to turret rotation, it's actually really good for the Alaska. 30 seconds turret rotation base stock without any modules or captain perks, compared to 35.3 I think is on the Kronstadt. Guns have 252 meter dispersion at the max range of the Kronstadt, but that is also with the range extender module I have on both ships, and for the Alaska it is 217 meters dispersion, so better dispersion, better sigma of course. The Kronstadt is not really known for being a ship with good sigma or dispersion. Sometimes it really, can surprise you of course, but most of the time it's not gonna be favoring you in that department. So when we come to the AA of the ships, I actually forgot to mention that it's been a bit hard time for me. I'm quite misinformed, or perhaps just lazy, reading on with the new AA values and how they fully work. I think I'm more lazy than misinformed, to be honest. I haven't tried the Kronstadt that much, so I'm not gonna say too much about it. I know it was quite crap before the CV rework. Alaska is, in my opinion, it gets the job done with the AA. I'm not fully AA spec'd. I have like AFT on the captain. I don't have the AA module or anything like that, but it gets the job done, especially with defensive AA. It's quite okay. But I wouldn't really hope too much on it, in all fairness. Maneuverability wise, it says the Kronstadt should have better stats than the Alaska, but in reality I feel the Kronstadt is really hard to maneuver around for some reason. I think the Alaska is, for me, feels more nimble, just like turning the ship feels more nice in the water, accelerating, deaccelerating and that kind of stuff, compared to the Kronstadt. Concealment wise, of course, the Alaska is better than the Kronstadt. It has 13.5 without the captain on the ship, with the module, concealment module. And I think the Kronstadt had around 14.1 now, if I'm not gonna lie to you. When recording this, I don't have the stats on the screen, in all fairness. So that was a bit of the stats of the ships. What can I say about, well, gameplay of this ship, how it works? I usually just play, or try to play around islands, of course. I know a lot of people do the same with the Kronstadt. It can work, of course, but both these ships can get overmatched by guns of 16-inch and up, so not always the optimal. Kronstadt has a better armor plating behind the bow of 330 compared to 260 in the Alaska, so potentially you can get away with, more plunging fire from certain BBs, but in my opinion I think the Alaska has actually been better in this department, since it's just a tad narrower as a ship. And the 27mm bow plating is better versus tier 8s, of course, which is the how would I say it, the sad part about the Kronstadt. But the Kronstadt is more armored in perhaps other departments. Here I actually try to go for the Citadel, but yeah, I get greedy in shooting. I'm not waiting enough on me accelerating past the island. I thought I had the arcs to shoot over the islands, but I didn't, so yeah, no really good damage there or anything like that. But this is an aspect I love about this ship when playing, especially this game. It's the turret rotation is, in my opinion, really nice for this type of ship. A super cruiser, what you can call it, battle cruiser. And the agility, I'm actually angling a bit too late here. But it works because I think I outtrade the turret rotation of the Kronstadt. I get hit for almost 9k, but yeah, that's not so bad. The good thing is the Alaska has more or less underwater citadel, not by much, but just a tad. It helps a lot in some situations. And there you can see the good accuracy of the rear turrets. Two shells connect directly onto the Cleveland, and the Cleveland is really squishy, so you're just able to penetrate him from a lot of different angles sometimes. Game is going really good. It was a really fun game. I was quite careful in the start. I didn't know how many ships they really had on this flank or not. But then I decided to heck with it. I'm gonna try and have some fun. The thing was actually that was the point of me pushing into this cap more or less as well. I wanted to test out the capabilities and how this ship is actually brawling, because before this game I wasn't really brawling too much with this ship. I didn't have the opportunities in the games before this one. So this game was a perfect opportunity to try out the brawling capabilities. Aft armor is a bit weak, as you can see here. It looks as though he landed a bit on the superstructure as well, but he got a nice 10-11k chunk. Plan here is I'm gonna try and get behind the island and angle my bow towards him. I don't wanna continue to the mid of the map because they have a bunch of ships there and I'm just gonna get killed really quickly. And since the Alsace doesn't have caliber larger than 15-inch, I think he should not potentially be overmatching my bow. Try to go for his guns because yeah, he's angling and I have a decent reload. I think it's down to like 15 seconds now with the adrenaline rush. I break one of his guns. I even popped the radar to make sure the DD doesn't try to sneak around the corner and torp when I'm trying to brawl with this guy. DD was quite close. And here I tried to do actually the same again with the Kronstadt and oopsie daisy. I have to tell you that felt really freaking good with the penetration of these guns, especially in close quarters, and my turrets actually having the time to rotate as well without the captain perk. I'm using John Doe for this ship for obvious reasons, because you can get down the expert loader to insane levels, around I think 4.7 or 5 seconds on this ship when full HP, when you have 20-second reload, which is amazing, really useful switching HE and AP around. So I don't know what to say. The ship is, I know I heard from a lot of my friends, they don't actually necessarily like this ship too much. They think it's quite in between, not too bad, not too good. In my opinion, I think it's quite fairly balanced compared to something like a Stalingrad, but Stalingrad is of course not tier 9 to begin with. The guns on this ship both give and take, as you're gonna see soon on this, sorry for that, Bismarck. Yeah, shatters, but German battleships are a weird bunch, in my opinion. And here I just try to abuse the islands as well to see if I can get some more shots. The game is not over yet. There's plenty more to do. You're gonna see I'm gonna overextend here just a tad around the corner of the island. Forgot to brake. I got a bit greedy for a situation that is gonna come up. You're gonna see it in just a couple of seconds. And this is the strength compared to the Kronstadt, that you can actually go for targets like this that more or less go for almost get behind in cover, behind islands, because you have the arcs for it, compared to Kronstadt would not have made it. And yeah, nice damage. But in return, of course, the Alaska was paying attention and citadels me. because I were extended with my ship a bit, and I wanted to also get all 3 guns on bear on the Cleveland. Accuracy wise with the Sigma, yeah, you can have volleys like this. I didn't zoom in this time, but that volley wasn't the best. Usually the Sigma or accuracy is more than good enough, I would say. Kronstadt, it's a bit, you know, a gamble. It's not nearly as reliant, or I mean trustworthy in that department. So gonna spoil a bit. Game is gonna be over. It's just mopping up right now for our team. We have more or less yeah, we have 2 caps. They are taking D, but yeah, they are not in a lot of good positions on the map to try and do something. We have them covered, we have them surrounded, and the game is gonna end in a win. So I'm gonna take the opportunity to show my modules on the screen. I'm not gonna tell them by name necessarily, because I think you all know which ones it is. Compared to the Kronstadt, since I play my Kronstadt quite in the open, I do not sit and hug islands that much. But in the Alaska I do the opposite. I usually always go for islands 90% of the time. The ship is fine sailing in the open waters. It has okay armor for that, depending on who shoots you, which BB, the plunging fire and all that. But I feel it's better suited for island coverage, since it is an American cruiser after all. So I built my ship for more survivability, which you can see on the module. Basics of Survivability 2, or I don't know if it's called like that. Sorry guys, I'm a complete potato with the names sometimes on the modules and everything in the game. Even though I play for more than 3 years, it's just hilarious. And also on the captain, yeah, on the captain it's actually called basic survivability. So it's 15% times 15 on floodings and fires. Shit, dispersion actually, yeah, laughed at me that time. So it's combined should be around 30%. I'm not sure if it really works like that in the game. I don't think so, but you get the point. I don't want to be flooding if I take torps too much next to islands. If I get one torp on the bow, or get if I get a lot of fires and get burned down. So over to the post-game battle results, which I have as screenshots, by the way. 201,000 damage, quite nice. Confederate, devastating strike, dreadnought, first blood, I think, EX, and high caliber, 15 citadels. Unfortunately, not a Kraken because, yeah, poor DD kill from my radar got stolen by CV, but never mind, doesn't matter. Over to the next one. 2,500 base XP. Not the best. I was thinking I would get a bit more, but yeah, it's not too bad. Anyway, going over to the damage screen, the detailed reports. 82k almost tanked. Potential only 1 million, which is quite average. Mostly due to me, yeah, abusing the islands, which you should do. You should not sit and tank too much if you don't need to. And the money potential is fairly decent in this ship. I don't know, I can't compare it to a Musashi. Probably Musashi would give you a bit more money, perhaps, with this kind of damage. I would say this ship is comparable to the Jean Bart from my experience. With the money profit, as you can see, it's only one Zulu flag, over 100k spent on service and, yeah, munitions and consumables. Still nice chunk of money, but absolutely no misery, you know. No misery money right there, absolutely not. Now to the armor. I wanted to show you regarding the armor values on these ships. The bow 27 on the Alaska, 25 on the Kronstadt. So Alaska will be able to bounce some tier 8 BBs, but the Kronstadt will not. The difference, however, is the armor behind that. If somebody tries to overpen you here, you will most certainly perhaps get citadeled in the Alaska, or yeah, most of the time by actually plunging fire coming from above, from the front. The good thing is the citadel is quite narrow. It's a bit wider in the back on the Alaska. So switching over to the Kronstadt, since you have 25mm, you will get overmatched by tier 8s and upwards. Of course, Colorado's alike, but those are also gonna overmatch the Alaska in the same way with those bigger guns, with the Nagato, sorry. But the big difference here is you have really juicy and beefy armor behind this bow plating. Which sometimes, if you're lucky, if somebody shoots it like this, can bounce it depending on the caliber, mostly 15-inch guns, or you get a better chance to actually bounce plunging fire from the front from certain BBs. So going on to the captain itself as well, I'm gonna show you one more time the build. I might even go and take away AFT, since this captain was pre-CV rework, and AFT is perhaps not as useful as manual nowadays. Might take this off and actually go for fire prevention if you want to go full tanky build. As I said, I don't use expert marksman, unfortunately, on this captain, because it's a buff one. I don't have the points for it with this build I'm currently using. But I think in general it's a nice build. The question is that arises, of course, then, can I recommend this ship? Is it worth the 1 million free XP? I think people need to know one thing before I answer that question, and that is that Missouri you need to take out of the equation. That was the first one of these special ships. And the credit grinding of the Missouri is just crazy. It's out of this world in this game. So we can't really compare the Missouri, and especially Missouri costs us 750,000 free XP, which is a quarter less than Alaska. Same for Musashi and same for the Kronstadt. However, grinding to Missouri for 750,000 free XP took me a long damn time, guys. Even with Clan Wars, the first seasons there, I think you played or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, might have been that Missouri was introduced before Clan Wars. I can't really remember. Don't kill me for it. But what I say is, nowadays, like grinding for the Kronstadt, I had even an opportunity to buy after Kronstadt the Musashi as well, if I wanted to, before the CV rework and before the Alaska was introduced. Didn't do it because I have the Yamato and I don't care, honestly. You can actually get hold of free XP a lot faster today, especially if you play Clan Wars, compared to, let's say, a year ago. So 1 million free XP compared to 750,000 is actually not that bad. It's an inflation, but I don't think it's a crazy inflation. I think it's on par with how you would grind in the past, if you get where I'm going here. So I think the ship is, for me, it's worth 1 million free XP. I would say if you like American cruisers, if you like the gameplay of being close to islands, close to caps, with the radar and everything, for me that is definitely worth 1 million free XP. And the brawling capabilities of this ship is really fun. Sure, top tier BBs are gonna overmatch you on the bow if you do not wiggle in a very special way and get away with it, and they have some bad aim, but that's the same problem for a Kronstadt, and it's even perhaps easier to citadel a Kronstadt through the bow, especially with tier 8 BBs. So that's a problem of that ship as well, which this one at least doesn't have with the tier 8s. Most of them, like, okay, Amagi is a different beast, but and the NC and some of the premiums, but I think it's really fun. I'm having a lot more fun in this ship than to my Kronstadt. I have had a lot of fun in the Kronstadt in the past, but I feel this ship is more fun to play, more nimble. So for me, it gets my recommendation. But I would only recommend it if you like playing American cruisers. If you do not like playing American cruisers, you're not comfortable sitting next to islands, you're not comfortable and know how to aim behind islands where ships sit, you know, or try to do the same thing as you, to try to use the arcs, try to use the game mechanics in the game and so on. If you're not comfortable with that, I wouldn't recommend this ship at all. Sure, you can sail it in the open, but in that case, Kronstadt is perhaps far better with the guns, with their lower arcs and the faster velocity of the guns. And this ship can citadel certain BBs at distance. It's not impossible, but it's not as good as the Kronstadt doing that. If Kronstadt hits a target, that's that's a thing you have to take into consideration, of course. With these two ships, this one at least has some better Sigma. So yeah, recommendation if you like American cruisers, and if you know somewhat well how to play them, I would say this ship is fun. So yeah, that is that. Not gonna be rambling on too much anymore. Already pushed this review too far, and actually this is one of my first reviews. I think this is my first real ship review. So all in all, for me, ship-wise, I really love this ship. I enjoy it. I think it's fairly balanced. I know some people don't think so, but in my opinion, this is a nice cruiser. It's a fine addition to the game, and I don't see any big flaws with it, in all honesty. It's a very, for me, it's a lot of, I call them like jack of all trades ships, and I actually like those. They do a lot of things decently well. They're not really stinky or bad in any department, and that's one of the things I like about Alaska. So I would say 4 out of 5 Navy captains from my side, and the seal of approval. Go get it if you want it, if you like American cruisers. See you around, guys. Take it easy. Until next time.